guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I am going to do a video on how to install hinges in your balsa airplane wing or tail, elevator, any of that. This is going to be the same procedure for ailerons, flaps, elevator, rudder, all that kind of stuff. Same idea, but I'm going to show you today. I am closing in on finishing up my Goldberg Eagle 2. I got it partially assembled from someone else and finished up a lot of the work. I got it covered for the most part, and we are at the point where we're going to put the ailerons on. So my engine cleaning video is one of the most popular ones on my channel, which blows my mind, but whatever people want to watch, that's what they're going to watch. So today I am going to show you how to install hinges, and I didn't know how to do it. I had to go to my dad for it because I've never totally built a plane. Most of my stuff is foamies or stuff that I got already assembled. So my dad taught me how to do it. So I'm going to pass it along to you guys, and anybody that needs to know how to do this, this is how he does it. He is an absolutely phenomenal builder, so I take every ounce of advice I can get from him, and this is how he does it and how he showed me, and it's simple enough. So we're going to dive right in here, and we're going to get these ailerons mounted on this Goldberg Eagle 2 wing. So there are a couple tools you need for this. Realistically, it can all be done with an X-Acto knife. That's how my dad did it for years, and it can be done that way. Great Plains made a tool called a slot machine. You can still get them. I see them at the flea markets all the time. They're relatively cheap. What this is, it's corded. You plug it in, and it's got two little tiny blades on it. And when you pull that trigger, those blades slide back and forth. So what you'll do with this, actually, I'm going to back up a minute. I'll show you what you do first and then where this tool comes in handy. But if you can get one of these, if this is something you plan to do a lot, if this is the first kit you're building and you got a whole stack of them you want to build, or you're just looking for an easier way to do it, the slot machine is fantastic. But realistically, it can be done with just an X-Acto knife. And there's another tool my dad has, and I don't know what it's called. I'm going to have to ask him, and I'll put it in the description. But it's this little plastic thing, and it's almost got, I don't know if it's a piece of hard plastic or a pin tip in the center of it. And it sits, it's wider than the trailing edge of the wing, and you twist it till it touches, and you slide it, and it gives you your center line. And so we've already done that. And what that does, it gives you your center line all the way across, and then you can decide on this wing we're gonna, or on this aileron, we're gonna do 3 hinges, and you'll find your points where you're gonna do that, and then you'll be able to take your knife and cut your little groove where right on the center line. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know what that tool is called. I'll have to ask him, and then I'll put it in the description. But that is what he uses, and that makes sure that your hinges are all in a nice line, and you're not distorting or warping your ailerons when you put them on. So if you don't have a slot machine, you can do this just like this, and you'll just take your X-Acto knife on that line, and you'll cut a little hole for your hinge to go into. If you do have a slot machine, you start that little hole and you make it the width that you need it to. Whoops, knocking things down. And then you'll take your slot machine and you'll put this up to the edge here, and you'll push that button when it's plugged in. I'm not going to do it because the holes are already in there. And those blades will carve out that slot where your hinge is supposed to go, and it makes it a nice clean cut and an even cut, and it's about the perfect width for one of these. And it's a lot easier. My dad, for years and years and years, didn't use one. He just used an X-Acto knife and said, what do I need that for? I have an X-Acto knife. And then he finally got one, and he said, holy cow, why have I been avoiding using one of these? So you can usually pick them up for like 15 or 20 bucks at RC flea markets, or you can find them online. But that is an awesome tool for this. I have one just because I scored one at a flea market or something like that. I don't plan to build a whole lot. That's just not my forte, but I've got this plane that's almost there, and I'm capable of finishing it, so I'm going to get it to the finish line and fly it. But that is the first thing you're going to do, is you're going to find your center line, and you're going to cut your notches out. And then if you have the slot machine, use the slot machine and make the slots. And next we are going to prep these and get them into the wing. Alright, so once you have your slots cut into the wing, there are several things you can use. CA is one of them. Zap, which I've never used, but I have this. Oh, I guess that stuff's still good. I don't know where that came from. Most people use CA. My dad does not like to do that because it dries so fast. It doesn't give you any margin for error or allowance to try and make sure everything's lined up right. So he likes to use wood glue, and it's going to dry and give you just as good of a bond, but it gives you a couple minutes to make sure everything is lined up when you're setting your hinges in. Because if this is all crooked, everything's not going to work right. So CA might give you a little bit of a stronger bond than wood glue, but I'm not going to say it's by much. And wood glue gives you that little bit of time to get things set up. So what you want to do is you've got your 3 holes cut now. So you want to take your wood glue and you want to squeeze it into the end of the hole. Alright, so once you get the glue in the end of the hole, then you realize that your video has an error and your phone's not recording anymore, and then you glue these in and now there's no ungluing them. So what you want to do is get that glue in the end of the hole and then put your hinge in like that. If you do the alternative of putting the glue on the hinge and trying to push it in there, what you're most likely going to do is smear most of that glue off as you shove it in there. So if you get the glue down in the top of the hole, when you push the hinge in, it's going to pull it in, cover all the hinge as you push it in, and then coat the inside of the hole, and then you get those hinges in. And like I said, with the wood glue, it gives you the opportunity to make a mistake or need to tweak something and be able to do that without having to tear stuff apart, with which is what you would probably run into with the CA if you had a problem. One of these, it wasn't going in straight. I had to pull it back out, put a little bit more wood glue, push it back in. And with CA, I don't think I would have had the time to do that because, I mean, I CA my fingers to the workbench in a matter of seconds sometimes. So you don't always get that opportunity to need to tweak something with the CA. That's why I use the wood glue. So this side is drying. I don't have this side glued in yet, but I do want to show you what you're going to do for your ailerons. And I have these marked so that I know which side was which. That one goes over here. You're going to want to let this dry for a while. In my case, it's going to be at least till tomorrow, if not longer than that. It depends on when I kind of get back in the workshop. But you're going to want to let that dry, and then you're going to do the same thing. And you can use that same tool, and sometimes it's a little difficult, excuse me, with the way the end of the leading edge of the aileron itself is shaped. But the tool my dad had worked well. We marked the center line and then lined this up and matched it, made a little pen marks here and here, here and here, and then did the same thing with the X-Acto knife and the slot machine to get your slots on here. So then what you're going to do is start with the rod at the end here, get that in the hole, and in the case of this, you're going to put your wood glue in all of these holes first, as well as in here. And I believe, I have to check with my dad, I believe he said he uses epoxy sometimes on these. I will have to confirm that, but I'm going to recommend using, I think, 2-part epoxy he has, like a 5-minute epoxy, to bond this metal rod to here. You're going to start the rod in there, and then start. See, that's why you gotta make sure things are lined up. My hinge was not lined up right, so start that. Start your first hinge, come down here, get your second hinge started. We'll go in there. Yep. And then get your third started. Once they're all started, obviously you can't push this one all the way in and then expect to get that second one in. Once you get them, there we go. Oh, see? You got to do it little by little, otherwise you're going to run into this. So let's line back up. All right, going together nice. All right, and you want to get that gap as tight as you can without binding this up. And that is going to be your aileron install. I don't know how well you can see that, how far into the camera that is, but I can't take the wing any further to my right. But that is going to be a nice hinge install. I got to do a little trimming, clean off some of this covering that's down in the gap there, but this obviously is not glued yet, so that's not going to be a big deal. I'll pull this back apart, get that cleaned up, and get this together. But that is a simple, easy hinge install. It's really not that hard. Like I said, I didn't really know what I was doing. I had to ask my dad about it. So for any of you that didn't know what you're doing and you have headed to YouTube, this is what I get from someone who builds and builds and builds and builds airplanes more than he flies them. So I trust his opinion enough to put this out here for all of you to watch and to follow the same steps. So you're gonna, again, just from start to finish, use your X-Acto knife. I really recommend a slot machine if it's something you're gonna do a lot of. Find your center line, mark your hinge spots. On an aileron this size, 3 is plenty. For the elevator, which is much smaller, 2 should be fine. Or sorry, I did not mean to say elevator. For the rudder, 2 is small, or 2 is fine. For the elevator, he recommended 2 out at the end and then split the difference and put 2 more in the middle, so I'm going to do 4 there. But for this, 3 is fine. Find your center line, cut your holes, use your slot machine. Wood glue is my recommendation just because you get a little bit more time to mess things up and fix them without ruining stuff. And then let that dry, and then the same process for the aileron itself. And then hopefully when all is said and done, you've got a wing with ailerons on it. So unless you're one of those people that I think is weird and flies without ailerons and only flies 3-channel, well, then you don't have to worry about this. Well, at least the aileron part. You got to still do the elevator and the rudder. But thanks for watching, guys. Again, if you like stuff like this, my engine cleaning video is like the most popular one on my channel, which again blows me away. But if you like more informative stuff like this, let me know. I do not mind at all making videos like this. If you have something that you want to know how to do, or if you think other people, if you didn't know how to do it and you went to YouTube to find it and there weren't that many great videos, well, maybe I can make one that you think's good and can help a bunch of people out. So I don't mind doing that kind of stuff. If you have any more questions, I will be happy to answer them. Or if you want to, again, if you want to see something else, let me know and I'll see what I can do. So until next time, guys, subscribe if you would. We're up over 100 subscribers. That's awesome. The next goal is 200, and then on to 500 and 1,000, and then to the moon. I don't know that any of that will ever happen, but I do thank the 111 of you, I think, right now that are subscribed, and all of you that watch these videos. Thumbs up it if you would. I appreciate that. That helps other people know that this is a good video, or was at least informative enough that you learned something. And again, comment if you have any questions or suggestions or recommendations. So until next time, I'll stop babbling on, and I'm going to get back to work, and I will see you guys later.